Hey y'all, today I made some Pancakes Bala Lapokopoko or round Samoan banana pancakes. Let me show you how I made them. I used 4 cups of all-purpose flour, 2/3 cups of sugar, 4 tablespoons of baking powder, and since these are big bananas, they're nice and overripe, I only used 2. Usually I would use 3 medium bananas. And I'm using 4 cups of oil in a large pot, heating over low to medium heat, right in between. All right, time to put all of our dry ingredients together, the flour, sugar, baking powder. Once I've added it all together, I like to use a fork to go in and mix it all together nice and well. And at the same time, breaking up any clumps that I see. I've put that aside and now it's time to mash up the bananas. The way that I like the bananas mashed is still chunky like this. Not soupy, so I don't mash them up to where they become almost liquidy. I like it just like this, where it's still chunky and there's still some dry parts of the banana showing. Now I take the dry mixture and I add the mashed bananas to it. I try to get the bananas in most of the area of the flour, not just throwing it into the center. And then I take the fork and I lightly mix the smashed bananas into the flour. Also during this time, I like to break up some of the bananas because of course when it goes in, it's kind of clumped together. So I'm mixing it together and then also kind of breaking up some of the smashed bananas together. So it ends up coming out looking as if you've added like butter to the flour. You know, like when you make biscuits or pie dough and then you put the butter in to the flour, that's kind of what this starts to look like. So I'm just taking my time, mixing it all together, making sure that the banana also gets into the bottom of the bowl as well, the sides and not just the center. And I'm just gonna show you how it looks. See how it kind of looks like you've added like butter to a biscuit mix? That's exactly what we're looking for. Now time to add some water. Now, just like how my original pancake recipe is, I don't like to measure the water. I like to add it little by little, because the moisture in the air can be different, or it could be really dry where you live, like in the air. And so that can change the amount of water that's needed for pancake. At least that's my experience. So I add a little bit at a time. If you've watched my first pancake video, which is pinned, you'll see that this is how I make that as well. So I just add a little bit of water at a time and I fold the water and the flour mixture together. I don't follow it or, like mix it like you're whisking pancakes, like regular pancakes, like American pancakes. You can whisk that batter. This is not what you want to do with making Samoan round pancake. For me, I always want to just fold the flour and the water together slowly, just like this. You're basically just trying to get the flour wet. And we don't want to mix it like you're stirring or whisking, because if you mix it too much or over mix it, you can make your batter dense. And then when you fry your pancake, you'll wonder why the center is not cooking. It's because it's too wet, or we've mixed it for too long or mixed it too much. So our mix is still not wet enough. We're gonna add some more water to that. I'm going for a sticky, wet, and still clumpy dough. And so as you can see, I'm folding it because I'm trying to make sure that I bring any dry flour from the bottom up so I can see if the batter is fully mixed and fully wet. At this point, I thought that I was done, but that's why I'm still trying to fold from the bottom to the top, just to make sure that I don't have any pockets of dry flour. And then you'll see as we're going that I actually ended up mixing one part and it did have flour still. So right there, that's some dry flour. That means we got to add some more water. So we're going to add some more water to get that part nice and mixed and wet, so that the rest of our batter can be complete. Still just folding it. This part takes, for me, it's like the labor of love that you want to give the batter, so that you can get the perfect consistency that you want. This is what we want. So it's movable, it's sticky, it's wet, but it's also still clumpy. And I'm going to show you right here, just like that. See how it just falls from your fork? That's exactly what we want. All right, now our batter is ready. I'm going to test our oil. I always test it with a little bit of flour, and once it fries up like that, that means my oil is ready. I've got a cup of hot water that I drip my spoon in so that the batter doesn't stick. And at this point, if you've never made pancake, which I've shared in my original pancake recipe video, if you've never made pancake, the best is to use an ice cream scoop, the retractable kind, and that would help you start to make pancake round. Now, when you drop the dough into your oil, you want to make sure that you drop enough to where they're going to be touching each other, the pancake. When the dough starts to cook on the side that's in the oil, you'll see that it'll pop up. If it doesn't pop up, it's fine to go ahead and use a fork to help it gently just pick it up and then turn it over. This is why you also want to have them all touching each other, because the bubbles that are frying there, it actually helps keep the pancake floating on one side so that both sides cook evenly. I like to take my fork, and once I see the edges start to turn darker on the bottom, I like to flip it so that the other side can then start to cook as well. There's a difference between making a regular pancake and a banana pancake. Pancake fight pala or banana should be darker than a regular pancake. Sometimes it looks burnt. So I took this pancake out because this is what a classic pancake color would look like. But as you can see, once I cut it open, it's still raw on the inside. So the pancake fight pala needs to be a bit darker than what we're used to when we do make regular pancake. Sometimes it looks burned, but trust, it's not. It's just the color of the banana cooking. Kind of like how banana bread comes out dark, you know, it's the same with pancake. So as you can see, these are getting darker. This one right here, I'm gonna take it out and show you. This is around the color that we want. It's darker than a regular pancake, and I'll show you right here. See the comparison. I'm gonna cut this one open just so you can see that it's fully cooked. And this is definitely too early to be cutting a pancake open, but I just wanted to make sure to show you guys how it's cooked on the inside. I cut it too early, so it looks, you know, it doesn't look fluffy, but trust, it's so yummy and fluffy. But there's the inside, nice and fully cooked. The outside is darker than we're used to, but trust, that's how brown they need to be for them to be fully cooked. A lot of people don't like making pancake fight pala because they do have to get this dark, and you're not too sure if they're fully cooked in the middle. Sometimes they seem burnt, and you really can't gauge whether or not your oil is too hot because the banana cooks and browns like that. So that's also why I think that if you haven't made pancake before, it's best to try with a regular recipe first, and then this should be like your second kind of pancake you can try. That way you'll know at least what consistency to get your dough at, and also you'll know that your dough has to be darker than what a regular pancake would look like in the oil. So now I'm making the second batch. Y'all, I made these this morning and they're already gone. Usually when I make pancake, it'll last all the way till like the morning. But this time around, I haven't made pancake fight pala in so long. Even myself, I've already had 3 to myself. But here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and put some butter on this one that's nice and ready. This is my favorite way to have pancake fight pala. If you make it right, it comes out so fluffy. It will come out fluffy because you don't follow it so much. You don't mix it so hard. And you've mixed it nice and light and you've taken your time with it. These came out so perfect. When I first started making pancake fight pala, I used to think that I sucked at making these, but it's just because you have to build up basically knowing what color they need to be when you're frying them, knowing the consistency of your flour and water mixture together with the mashed banana. It just takes time. Okay, I already inhaled that first one, and here I go. I'm just gonna have a whole nother one right after that one. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and that the steps are easy to follow. And if you make it, I really hope you enjoy it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye.